Hi guys, I'm Autumn and welcome to Spanish Sundays. So every Sunday I'll be posting a video about how to improve your Spanish. So we'll be going over a lot of different topics, whether it's maybe grammar, vocab, study tips, study methods, culture, all that great stuff. So this week I'm going to be talking about my favorite resources for studying Spanish. So my favorite books that I've used in the past 8 years that I've been studying Spanish. So we're going to start off with Barron's. So I really like this brand in general. I've used it for a lot of other languages too. And this one is vocabulary. I was actually required to buy this in college during my brief time there for the Spanish class I was taking. So this vocabulary book covers a lot of topics, and the thing is too that it is, I would say, maybe more for intermediate level. It has a lot of beginner stuff in there, but there's also a lot of stuff that you really wouldn't go over or maybe even learn in the classroom. So that's why I would recommend it if you want to broaden, expand your vocab, or touch up on a few things, a few scenarios. You know, they have a lot of not just topics, but like it goes over time, like how to tell time, like when you're in a restaurant ordering, phrases, that sort of thing. So if you feel like you need to be brushing up on conversational topics, then this would really help with that. And another brand of books that I absolutely love is Practice Makes Perfect. So I've been using these for a couple other languages too because I love it so much. So this one, you know, is for all the verb tenses, all of them. So I feel like it goes into depth a lot about each tense, but it doesn't like overwhelm you at the same time. It gives you the information you need, because I've used other books where you practice, you know, verb tenses, and I just didn't feel like I was getting enough information, or at least enough exercises to get me where I wanted, to give me enough practice. And when the Practice Makes Perfect, I feel like it does a really great job of that, especially with some tenses that are, you know, more used. Like, I know my Italian one, there's like over 30 pages just on the present tense. And I know that sounds like a lot, but you do use the present tense a lot, and it goes over irregular, stem changers, it goes over like the verb to be, ser, estar, like it really covers everything you're going to need. And I feel like out of all the other books I've used like this, they just don't compare to Practice Makes Perfect. And they have a different topic, so maybe you don't want to review on verb tenses, maybe you need help with pronouns and prepositions. You know, they cover a lot of different topics. There's some for improving your reading, writing, like it's got it all. Definitely recommend it. So another brand that I really like too is Adelsa. So this one is particular for B2, like helping kind of get you there and like keep your consistency. So it goes through 12 different themes, and each theme you are dealing with a different topic. So, you know, you have music, climate change, you have all those great stuff, and it kind of goes into, like, it focuses on not just one sort of method of improving. So it's not just focusing, let's say, on like vocab or just on writing. It gets you to the level you need for B2 with exercises that will improve your Spanish overall. So there's reading, yes, there's writing, there's vocabulary, there's multiple choice, and it's great, I would say, for test prep too. So if you're preparing for one of the daily exams, then this brand really has a lot of good material for it. The only thing I don't love that much about this book is that for the vocabulary section, some of the, let's say, expressions or idioms or even just vocab, sometimes it can be hard to find like a good definition. I use word reference a lot over Google Translate, and even with Google Translate, you know, it's good for translating words, but when you have idioms or expressions, like, doesn't always give you the best translation. So that's the only thing I struggled with. But like if you're taking Spanish in a class or you have an online tutor, then you can ask them, no problem. If you have Spanish speaking friends, always a good resource to reach out, touch base with them, having a question. And so this is also by Delsa. I've been using this for my to prep for my B2 exam, and I really love it. And I know it's one of the most recommended for preparing for this exam. But also this brand, like if you're preparing for, I don't know, C1, C2, A2, you're gonna find books for that level too. And it has 2 CDs. Look at that. I have not used them yet, but I'm sure I'll get around to it. And so you can practice, you have listening, all parts of the test, all reading, writing, listening, and then there's another one, but I forgot it. And there's also a vocab section, and like each unit sort of deals with the different topics, things that you are possibly going to see on the exam. And you know, there's not a vocab section on this exam, so it's really great that they give you that as well, so you can kind of prepare in a sense. Even though there's not a vocab section, there's still going to be a lot of vocab you're going to have to be dealing with on the exam. So also, if you're looking to buy the book, be sure to buy the answer key as well. So this has all the answers for, I believe, the listening parts. Yes, listening for the CD and the transcripts, because there's oral practice. That's the other part, oral exam. There we go. All right. I want to quick touch base on another textbook I had to buy during my brief time at the university for Spanish class. Okay, so here's the thing. I spent $125 on this. I'm not recommending you go and drop $125 on a book unless you really want to. If you do, yeah, that's great. But I don't recommend doing that. However, after I bought this book, I was talking to another classmate, and he only spent about $25 off of Amazon, I think, for it. So, you can get it for cheaper, for sure. And the reason why I do recommend this is because this is a great book if you're not studying in a classroom, which I know sounds weird because I bought it for a class. But if you're studying independently, there's a lot of exercises that you can do by yourself. Like almost all the exercises you can do by yourself. And it goes over all the tenses. It goes over all sorts of things. Like, this is a very thick book. And it's kind of heavy too. There's a lot of maps in it too. But it touches base really on basically everything. Yeah. So that's why I recommend this book. But obviously, don't go and spend $125 on it if you can't find a cheaper version. Like, it's good, but it's not that good. Not $125 is good. So, the last book that I want to recommend is Side by Side Spanish and English Grammar. So I would recommend this if you kind of if you struggle with grasping certain grammar concepts. So when I was in high school, I hated studying grammar, Spanish grammar, because I didn't understand how these tenses were used in English, because in our English classes, at least, you know, in American high schools, we're not taught grammar. We don't go over that. We're taught literature. We're taught about, like, writers, famous writers. We go over poetry. We don't go over grammar, really. I can't really even remember any grammar lessons we did. We do writing, sure, but we don't do anything with grammar. So I didn't really understand English grammar, like, in depth. Sure, I could use it right, but I didn't know any of the tenses. I didn't know how they work. So of course in Spanish, doing grammar, I didn't understand that either, because I think a lot of teachers kind of like assume, kind of already know that, but we don't do that in English class. So I struggled a lot with grammar, and in this book, it tells you, explains pretty well about each tense, how it's used, It gives you examples, a lot of examples. It goes through pronouns, it goes through adjectives, it goes through nouns. So like if you're a beginner, it's going to tell you, you know, difference when to use masculine, when to use feminine, for the articles, parts of speech. It covers a lot. And if you're looking for something to review, you know, if you just want to touch base on understanding the grammar as well, it's a great book. I would recommend it, you know, if you're a beginner or intermediate, or if you want to review and touch base on it, because it's super great. It does not have any, like, exercises per se, but it's great for, like, note-taking and just double-checking and, you know, refreshing. It's always great to review. So, those are the books that I have today, and if you want to see certain topics discussed in the future for Spanish Sundays, just let me know in the comments what you want to see. If you want something explained, for grammar, for anything, just let me know. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next Sunday. Adios.